Welcome back to the deep dive. So we need to talk about stress.
Mm-hmm.
And, more specifically, we need to talk about the advice we give people when they are stressed. Because if I asked you, or, just a random person on the street,
What's the best way to handle it?
exactly,
Yeah.
how do you handle mental health issues?
Yeah.
Or how do you process trauma? What are they going to say?
9 times out of 10, they're going to say, you have to talk about it.
Right. You have to
Yeah.
connect. You have to share your feelings. Vulnerability is strength. I mean, we've all seen the TED Talks. We've read the books.
Oh, yeah.
It's basically the cultural commandment of our time.
It is the gold standard for sure.
But, and this is why I got so interested when you sent over this research stack, what if that advice is actually wrong?
Mm.
Or maybe not wrong, but what if for a huge chunk of the population, talking it out is actually correlated with worse mental health outcomes?
It's a provocative thought, isn't it? We
Mhm.
tend to assume human psychology is this one-size-fits-all situation.
Right. If therapy works for me, it must work for you.
Exactly. But the data we're looking at today, and this comes from SDTEST, it's a massive global poll, over 1,000 responses from 80 countries. It suggests that's a dangerous assumption.
Dangerous how?
Well, the poll asked a really simple question. What will you do this week to look after your mental health? And when you filter those answers through the lens of value systems,
You mean spiral dynamics?
right, specifically the spiral dynamics framework, you see that connecting with others isn't a universal cure. For some people, it's closer to poison.
Poison. That's a strong word.
Okay, maybe counterproductive is a better word. But the point stands. We are going to look at 5 distinct value systems, these VMs, and we're going to see that self-care means 5 completely different things.
Oh, I'm ready. But I want to start with the data point that jumped out at me immediately, because it just seems to contradict everything I think I know about human nature.
I think I know which one you mean.
We think of traditional, structured communities like the military or religious groups as being all about brotherhood or community.
You're talking about the blue.
Right, the blue system. So this represents order, duty, moral authority. Yet, the data shows a negative correlation between this group and the choice to connect with others.
It is, yeah. A negative correlation of minus 0.0812 to be precise.
Okay, hang on. I'm not a statistician. A negative 0.08 doesn't sound massive. Is that actually significant?
It's a fair question. In behavioral data like this, it's less about the sheer size of the number and more about the direction of the arrow.
Okay.
A positive number means, the more I value this, the more I do that.
Mhm.
A negative number means the more I value this system, the less I want to do that. So as someone becomes more blue, more focused on duty and order, their instinct to connect just drops.
That's what I find so weird. I mean, these are people who value the group, right? The church, the platoon, the nation. Why wouldn't they lean on that group when they're struggling?
But see, they value the group, yes, but they value the structure of the group, not the emotional intimacy of the group.
That's a huge distinction.
It is. For the blue mindset, safety doesn't come from vulnerability. Safety comes from predictability.
So if I'm in that mindset and things feel chaotic or stressful,
Then the absolute last thing you want is a messy, unstructured conversation about feelings. That's just more chaos.
right.
What you crave is order. You want a plan. You want a rule.
So for them, talking it out isn't therapy at all.
It feels like a dereliction of duty. If your self-worth comes from being reliable, from following the code, then sitting around complaining, which is kind of how they see it.
It feels like you're slacking off.
You're stopping your work, exactly. When a blue person is stressed, they don't want a hug. They want a checklist.
But isn't that just repression? I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but if you just bury your feelings under a checklist, aren't you just setting yourself up to explode later?
That's the modern critique, for sure. But look at the historical context in the source material. Look at Marcus Aurelius.
The Stoic emperor.
Exactly. He wrote Meditations. People today read it as like a self-help book, but he wasn't writing it for an audience.
Right. And he certainly wasn't writing it to explore his inner child.
So what was he doing?
He was performing a ritual. He was reviewing his orders for himself. You are an emperor. Get up. Do the work. Don't complain. It was a daily act of discipline. He wasn't trying to feel better. He was trying to be fortified.
Fortified. I like that word. It's so different from healed.
It is. And the sources talk about this with veterans with PTSD too. We often try to push talk therapy on them immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And for some, that works. But for many, the thing that actually stabilizes them is a return to an extreme routine. Making the bed, strict workout times, organizing their space.
Because the external order quiets the internal noise.
Precisely. Structure is the therapy. It's not repression, it's containment. It's proving to yourself you can still hold the line.
That makes a lot of sense. If your world is falling apart, making your bed perfectly is a way of saying, I still have control over this one little piece of reality. And if you tell that person, hey, stop worrying about the bed, come sit in a circle and cry with us, you're not helping. You're stripping away their armor.
So that's blue. Order over connection.
Yep.
But I mean, obviously the talking cure came from somewhere. We didn't just invent it.
No, and that brings us right to the next stage in the spiral. Green. This is the value system that basically evolved out of blue.
Because blue was too rigid.
Exactly. People eventually felt suffocated by all that duty and order. They started saying, what about me? What about us? What about how we all feel? And that's the birth of the green vMEME, harmony, community, equality.
And I'm guessing the data just flips here.
Completely. We see a clear positive correlation. It's plus 0.0996 between green values and connect with others.
Okay, so this is the group that created the modern wellness industry.
Essentially, yes. For green, the self doesn't really exist in isolation. They view humans as interconnected. If I'm sitting alone in my room journaling, I haven't really solved the problem.
Why not?
Because the problem exists in the space between us.
The relational field.
Right. To green, isolation is the enemy. It's a pathology. Health is defined by the quality of your relationships. If I haven't shared my truth with you, I feel blocked.
Which explains why, if you have a green HR director, every single company retreat has to have a trust fall.
It's well-intentioned, but it assumes everyone is operating on that green frequency. They think, well, this makes me feel safe, so it must make everyone feel safe.
But as we just learned, it makes the blue people feel terrified.
Correct. But it's not just blue and green. I mean, there are other players in this game. What about the people who think both duty and feelings are a waste of time?
The people who just want to get things done.
The orange vMEME. This is the scientific, rational, achievement-oriented mindset.
The optimization crowd.
Yes. And look at their data. A positive correlation with be physically active. That's plus 0.00660. But we have to be careful here. They are not exercising for the same reason a green person might go for a hike with their friends.
They aren't doing it for the vibes.
Not at all. For orange, mental health is a performance variable.
A performance variable.
It's hardware maintenance. You don't sleep because it's cozy. You sleep because it optimizes your cognitive output for the next day.
That sounds a little cold, like we're just machines.
To orange, we are biological machines, and machines need maintenance. It's an ROI mindset, return on investment. If I meditate for 10 minutes, will I gain 20 minutes of focus?
So they don't want to heal, they want to rebound.
Exactly. They want to get back in the game. If you tell an orange person to sit with their feelings, they'll ask, okay, what's the metric for success here? How do I know when I'm done?
If you can't give them a metric, they're out.
Right. But there's another group that is active, like orange, but for a much, much darker reason. And this is a distinction that data highlights that I think is fascinating. We need to talk about red.
Red, that's a power vMEME, right? The jungle.
The jungle. Survival of the fittest, high impulsiveness, high dominance.
Okay, so I see they also correlate with physical activity. On the surface, they look like orange. They're at the gym.
They are, but the intent is completely different. Orange is exercising to optimize the machine.
And red.
Red is exercising to weaponize the machine.
Weaponize it.
Think about the environment red operates in. It perceives the world as a threat, as a battle. In a battle, you don't need to be healthy for longevity. You need to be ready for combat.
Combat readiness.
Yes. It's about burning off stress through sheer intensity. It's about building a physical shell that just screams, don't mess with me.
This connects back to the whole talking thing. I'm looking at the data here, and for red, the correlation with connection is, what, basically 0 or negative.
And this is the most critical insight for anyone managing a high-stress team. In a red environment, think of a cutthroat sales floor, or a high-stakes trading desk vulnerability is not seen as strength.
It's seen as weakness.
Worse, it's seen as ammunition.
Oh, wow.
If I tell you I'm insecure about my numbers, and we're fighting for the same bonus, I just gave you a knife to stick in my ribs later.
That is a bleak way to view the world.
It's a protective way to view the world if that's the reality you live in. So if you come in with your, let's all share our feelings approach, the red person isn't just annoyed. Their survival alarms are going off. They're thinking, this person is trying to disarm me.
So we've got blue needing order, green needing connection, orange needing optimization, And red needing action, or ERMR. That leaves one left.
Yeah.
And it's the one that usually trips people up. Turquoise.
The holistic vMEME, the big picture view, everything is connected.
And the data here is... It's confusing. Because these are the spiritual people, right? So you'd think they'd be all about yoga and movement. But the data shows a strong negative correlation with be physically active, minus 0.1002.
But look at what they do correlate with.
Okay.
The strongest positive signal in the entire study is for mindfulness. It's plus 0.1834.
So they meditate, but they don't move.
Yeah.
That seems like a contradiction. If you're holistic, don't you care about the body?
They do care about the body, but they reject the orange definition of exercise.
Okay, break that down for me.
Remember, orange views the body as a machine, a car. You take the car to the gym, you fix the tires with cardio, you tune the engine with supplements. It's mechanical.
Segmented.
Exactly. And turquoise hates that. Turquoise views the self as an ecosystem. You don't fix a forest.
So you align it.
You align it. You let it flow.
Okay, that's a good analogy.
So to a turquoise thinker, mental distress isn't a broken part. It's an illusion of separation. It means you've lost touch with the whole. And you can't fix a spiritual disconnection by doing bicep curls.
It feels crude.
It feels entirely beside the point. So they choose mindfulness because it dissolves that separation. They aren't lazy. They just don't want maintenance. They want alignment.
It's a different operating system.
A completely different operating system.
This is, wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot to process. Because it basically means that every single corporate wellness program I've ever seen is doomed to fail at least half the staff.
Usually more than half, yeah.
So let's get practical. Say I'm a manager.
Yeah.
Or I'm just trying to help a friend. How do I use this? I can't just psychoanalyze everyone I meet.
You don't have to. You just have to listen to what they value, and then you translate your advice into their language.
Okay, give me a scenario. Monday morning meeting.
All right. Let's say you're running a sales team. End of the quarter. Everyone's fried. High stress. That's likely a red-orange environment.
So do not do a check-in circle.
Definitely not. If you say, let's be vulnerable, you lose them. Instead, you say, I know the pressure is high. Here are 3 tools to keep your head in the game and maintain your competitive edge.
Competitive edge. So you're selling the same breathing exercise, but you're just wrapping it in red paper.
Exactly. You frame it as stress control for closers. You make it about winning.
Okay, to swap it. You're managing a team of, I don't know, safety inspectors, accountants. Very blue.
You don't say competitive edge, they don't care. And you definitely don't say share your feelings because that feels unprofessional.
So what's the hook?
You say, it is our duty to keep this department running smoothly. To do that, we need to make sure our heads are clear. So we are going to implement a standard operating procedure for stress management. Step 1.
Standard operating procedure. You're making self-care a rule.
And Blue loves following rules. You've just given them permission to take care of themselves by framing it as an obligation to the team.
That is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't changed the activity. They're still taking a walk, but you've changed the permission structure.
That's the key. Most people need permission to heal, but they only accept permission from an authority they respect. Blue respects duty. Green respects connection. Orange respects data.
You know, I was thinking about this with the holidays too. The source material mentioned it, and it feels so relevant. That's a huge stressor.
Oh, absolutely. And the holiday stress isn't just one thing.
Right. For green, the stress is people overload. Too much family, too much conflict.
But for Blue, the stress is ritual overload. We must send the cards. We must cook the specific meal.
We must be at grandma's at 6 sharp.
Exactly. And for orange and red,
End of year targets.
did I win the year? Did I hit my quota?
So if you send out a generic happy holidays, relax and enjoy your family email to your whole staff, you might actually be triggering the blue people who are stressed about not relaxing and the orange people who are stressed because they aren't working.
Exactly. We need to stop assuming everyone is stressed by the same things or soothed by the same things.
It really makes you rethink the judgments we make about people.
That, for me, is the most important takeaway from all of this.
Yeah. I mean, I find myself getting annoyed when people don't want to open up.
Yeah.
I kind of label them as emotionally stunted or repressed.
And they probably look right back at you and think you're oversharing and undisciplined.
Touché.
We need to drop the moral judgment. A blue person isn't broken because they prefer a checklist to a chat. A red person isn't toxic because they prefer the gym to a therapy couch. They're just trying to survive and heal using the map they have.
The map they have. That's the thought I want to leave everyone with.
That's a good one.
If you're listening to this and you've ever tried a wellness trend, journaling, meditation, CrossFit, whatever, and you felt like it just failed you.
Ask yourself, did it fail, or was it just the wrong tool for your operating system?
Maybe you aren't broken. Maybe you just need a different map.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you next time.